This is Amud Yomi Gemara in Shabbos. Daf Mem Dalid Amud Beis. We pick it up in the bottom of Mem Dalid Amud Aleph, 2 lines from the bottom. Omar Rav Yehuda Marav Mita, a bet Sheyichado Lemais, that is designated for cash, for money. Aser Litaltla, you're not allowed to move that bed on Shabbos. And of course, this is going to be similar to a kiss that's miyachid l'ma'is, or anything that's miyachid for ma'is. For the simple reason is, money is the highest level of muksa. It's intrinsically muksa. There is no usage for it on Shabbos. And therefore, the item that is designated purposely for that item, for something that is muksa, will as well be muksa. Asks the Gemara Meisir of Nachman Bar Yitzim Medal Ner Chadash Avalo Yashan. We see you're allowed to move a ner chadash, even though a candle, seemingly as well is something that has been designated for a usage which is intrinsically muksa. Yet it is not allowed to not be used. So it's a mita sheyichadol lema'is. The mere yichod, the mere designation, should not cause any problem. We turn over to Memdalim and Beis and explains the Gemara. The candle's created for this, and yet what's the halacha? A ner chadash, which is ki lo yidlika b'shari l'tal tula. It hasn't yet been lit yet. You're allowed to move it. So I ask the Gemara, mita, in our case of the bed, l'alachi avida, even though it was made for this purpose, lo kol shekain, as well should have the same halacha, and you should be allowed to move it. So why did the Brisa teach us that a mita sheyichadol lema'is, that was merely designated, you're not allowed to use it? Says the Gemara, you're right, 3 lines down. Mem daled mebeis al yitmar hachi yitmar. Amar Rav Yehuda Marav mita sheyichadol lema'is, a bed that is designated for money, hiniach le'ama'is asla talta. Once you put money on it, once it's used for its designated purpose, then if you have not yet used it, then but now let's say it wasn't even designated for money. Then yesh allow, then it depends upon practically at this moment, is there actually money on it? But of course, the very important caveat, which by now we should be familiar with, because if there was money upon a binas shemashais, and the entirety of binas shemashais, that block of time it was muksa, was not allowed to be moved, then it remains that way throughout the duration of Shabbos. However, if it was not on for the duration of binas shemashais, then the halacha is, if it's not yichad for that, it's not designated for that, then it depends practically, is the money currently on it or not. Continues the Gemara, Amar Ula. Says Ula, Masiv Rav Elazar. Asks Rav Elazar, and this is going to be based upon the fact that this rule, that something that begins as muksa, it stays as muksa. Masiv Rav Elazar, the famous muchli, one of the more complicated areas in Hilchos Muksa. But a muchli is literally a wheel. Muchli shala, its wheel. When the wheel is able to be removed, ein chiber la. So wheel of a wagon, if it could be removed, it's not considered la halacha attached to the wagon. Veinim dadesima. And it's not measured with the wagon when you have to figure out the size of it. And it's not going to be saved in the situation of oil mace, meaning it's a separate entity. You're not allowed to drag it when there's money on it. What's the obvious implication? When there's actually cash on it, then you cannot drag it. But if there's no cash upon it, Sharia, this muchni, this wheel of the wagon, you're allowed to move. Even though seemingly, so this brisa sounds like we have a wheel, we have a part of an item. So part number one is that as its own, if it's able to be moved, removed, then it has its own set of halachas. It's not considered as part of the larger item. If it can't be removed, then not. But said the Brisa, it's dependent upon if there's actual money. Seemingly, even if it was there, bein hashmashis, would not be a problem. Says the Gemara, 2 lines to the bottom, Ahi, Rabbi Shimoni. That's Rav Shimon, the last lay muksa of Rabbi Yehuda. Of course, Virav. Virav ki Rav Yehuda Sfira and Rav holds like Rav Yehuda that there is muksa, and that's the reason why once there's going to be muksa on there on Erev Shabbos, Bein Hashmashais, will remain muksa for the duration of Shabbos. So we continue on the top of Memhei Amid Aleph. So one more line to wrap it up. Says the Gemara, what we just said, the Rav holds of Rav Yehuda that there are dinei muksa, that if something is here bein hashmashas, it remains muksa, is logical. Said Rav, we can place a ner on a decal, a palm tree on Shabbos, but you're not allowed to on Yantif. So that once something is muksa bein hashmashas, it remains muksa. I know the shani lo bein Shabbos li Yantif. So we understand now the chilik between Shabbos and Yantif. Eliyamer Rav Shimon Svirlei Mali Shabbos Mali Yantif. It makes no difference. Just like you're not allowed to leave a burning light on a tree on Shabbos as well as on Yantif. Why? There should be no difference because according to Rav Shimon, there's no muksa. According to Rav Shimon, once the flame goes out, you'll be allowed to move it off of the tree, whether it's Shabbos or Yom Tov. Ask the Gemara 1 second. V'Rav Kravyu Desfirle v'Abay Minei Derav. Well, you know the Rav asked. You let him move a menorah away from the chabare, the evil, the bad people on Shabbos. And Rav says it's proper to do that. What do you mean? So we see that after the flame goes out, Rav yes allows you to move the menorah. If he holds like Rav Yehuda, it should be muksa. Shasat chag shiny. Normally Rav Kana, Rav Ashi, the Rav Achi. Is this really the halacha, Rav? Like Rav Yehuda, that you're allowed to move the menorah once light goes out? And Amar Louis said no. Kedai Rav Shimon, Lismach Alav B'Shasat Chag, the famous line. We have the vibes of Labu Gebaimer in there already. Rav Shimon, Rashbi, Kedai Lismach Alav B'Shasat Chag. So Rav B'Shasat Chag allowed them to move the menorah, but Be'etzem he passed like Rav Yehuda that even after the light goes out, since it was muksa bein hashmashas, it remains muksa for the duration of Shabbos.